My wife feels guilty for kissing another man and accuses me of cheating, while I just want to move on. We have been together since we were 18, and we haven't had great sex since the first year. Maybe once or twice a year at most, but now it's been 3 years. Although this bothers me, I love her and our children, so I won't make a big deal out of it. I know many friends are in the same situation. Also, I used to be slightly overweight, but I was always healthy because I exercise regularly. Until about 10 years ago, I got very sick and my weight shot up to almost 300 pounds on medication and overeating. 2 years ago, I decided to take action. I'm now about 200 pounds, which is the lightest I've been as an adult for my 6 feet 2 inches frame, and I really enjoy lifting weights. My wife has always been much sexier than me, but it became clear that she and I were together for the first time, and women started noticing me and leaving comments on my baking page on social media. It's worth mentioning that I've never paid attention to other women in that way. On the night in question, my wife went out with some friends, both single and in relationships. She looked amazing, and I told her so much so that I even updated my phone's home screen to her photo. One of her friends from the night out sent me a series of text messages over a period of about 3 months to the effect that she knew I was not having sex and that my wife did not know how lucky she was basically. I wanted to hook up with whoever I wanted, and I immediately took screenshots and sent them to my wife around 4 a.m. My wife came home and woke me up when she went to bed. I was half asleep, but could sense that something was wrong. I asked her what was wrong, and she didn't say anything for a few seconds. And when I went to take her hand, she pulled away. I asked her if I should get her a drink, and she said no. Then she suddenly said, "I met a man tonight, and he kissed me." I didn't kiss her back at first, but then I did. For the next half hour, we kept dancing and kissing. She kept saying she was sorry and begging me not to leave her. My actual reaction at the time was that it was just kissing and dancing. I didn't say that. I just hugged her and tried to calm her down. After about an hour, when I had the right words in my head, I said, "I know you feel really guilty, but please don't. I'm not going to leave you and destroy our family because of kissing and dancing. I love you no less than I did yesterday. This is not going to develop, and it will cause more or less dissatisfaction." Just then, on cue, my phone rang. It was her friend, sending photos and videos of what my wife was doing, which annoyed my wife again, but my feelings remained unchanged. A month later, the situation was still the same. In the months since then, my wife has accused me of not loving her because I don't care about her, accused me of kissing other people, and even more so I don't care because I'm covering up my indiscretions. She also accused me of being gay many times for no reason, and she kept asking me why I didn't initiate sex with her, even though in the past she had told me that she hated being touched and not to try to have sex with her, which I respected. It's basically projection, and it annoys me because it puts pressure on us, and it's 100% her doing. How do I make her understand that she needs to stop feeling guilty and move on? Because it's not a big deal to me. I was really annoyed when she broke my baking bowl and tried to blame it on the cat. LTLDR, wife kissed another man. I don't care. Now she's feeling guilty and trying to blame it on someone else. How do I stop this? Edit, hi everyone. Just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to respond to me. I really appreciate it, and I'm very touched that you took the time to answer the few questions I keep asking, so I'd like to answer them here. Over the years, we have seen several different couples counselors and sex therapists, most recently in September of last year. My wife always feels that they have hurt her, and we almost stopped going. They all said that she was sexually frigid, and some even said that she showed many signs of homosexuality. I have received a lot of information saying that she wants to be needed and wants me to be more proactive, but that is not the case every time we go for therapy. She says she doesn't want me to initiate sex with her or even hugging, and that just the suggestion of sex puts her under pressure. She's made it clear to me and our therapist that if she doesn't initiate sex, it will be out of pity. As for those who say I don't love her, I buy her flowers every Friday when I get home from work, bake her favorite cookies or cupcakes every weekend, and send her voice memos to share things that remind me of her. I tell her I love her every day, and I run her bath every night. I'm not bragging. I was raised this way. To those who say I must have grown up in a family that didn't love, I show love. People say I'm not jealous. If she tells me she's having an affair, I won't love her. She spends hours on the phone with other people, laughing and joking. She snuggles on the sofa eating chocolate and watching TV with other people, etc. I'll fall apart. Dancing and kissing is nothing to me. It's a long way from divorce. Thanks again for reading. 22nd edit. Sorry. It's 7 a.m. It's 7 a.m. The day after I posted this message. I've been talking to my wife since 6 a.m. She said she had a week to agree to go back to couples counseling and that she had to stick with it this time instead of just accusing them of taking sides and refusing to go back. She said no, that they all bullied her and made her the bad guy. She said I broke my promise, that I forgave her and don't hate her. I said it wasn't about the kiss, but about her reaction since the kiss, and it felt like she was trying to drive me away and make me leave her. She got up and stormed out of the room, then got dressed and said she was going out until I went to work. Update. It's been almost 2 weeks since I posted, and the short update is that we are getting a divorce. I told her in my last post that I wanted to get back into couples counseling and sex therapy, and she refused because she felt bullied the last time we went. In the sex therapy, she said that unless it was initiated by her, any contact, not just sexual like a hug or holding hands, was against her will and out of compassionate feelings. The sex therapist said that was very reasonable, and that's why she felt bullied there. I also tried to ask her a few questions, but she refused treatment and didn't give me direct answers. She also said I broke my word because now it was me saying that it wasn't the kiss that separated us, but your actions since then that made me want a divorce. She said that the divorce was my decision and that it was all my fault, and that I should tell the children that she would not be involved. When they were told that my wife had gone to her sister's house, it was hard for them to accept. For 3 days, I had no news from her, and I tried to talk to her about the children because they missed her a lot, but she read my messages and ignored me. Many people asked that friend why they were still chatting after she tried to be with me. What I understood was that my wife tried to get the circle of friends to kick that friend out, but they almost all refused, so my wife just chose to ignore her in group chats. The night of the incident, the friend found my wife and told her that if she didn't tell me, she would send me the video, so my wife didn't tell me because she felt guilty, but because she was forced to. I also talked to several other friends in the group and asked what happened. I obviously wasn't a party to it. My wife had sex with her friend's boyfriend a few years ago, and my wife had bragged about how she was in control of me, and she could get away with nothing. And I was afraid to ask the friend, but apparently one day, she saw me go shopping and thought I was even more now, so she wanted to get back at my wife and make her not need me anymore. I was just a pawn in the many internal conflicts of this strange circle of friends, and I only realized in recent days that they all seem to hate and sabotage each other. I have to be honest and say that I feel incredibly guilty about this. But when she left my body, my soul seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, like the clouds parting. I feel so sorry for it, but I feel like a 6'2" instead of a 3-foot-tall person who is afraid to say anything for fear of being told off, insulted, or laughed at. Today was like the blink light being switched off. I baked things with the kids, ate Easter eggs, watched cartoons, and I smiled the whole day without flinching or crumbling, without worrying about someone saying I'm too loud, or watching the wrong kind of TV, or there's a rapper singing, etc. Thank you to everyone for the support in my last post, to all of you. 20 TLDR, we are getting a divorce. Yes, I'm still not bothered by that kiss. Thanks again to everyone for the kind words and support in both of my posts. I would also like to thank everyone on View for the lovely comments they posted after my last post, but unfortunately the post was locked before I could thank you personally. After my last update, many of you commented and messaged me asking if I was sure the children were mine. It wasn't until I saw your messages last Thursday that I realized the problem. I ordered a paternity test, which was sent on Friday, and I'm currently waiting for the results. I don't care what the results are, it won't change the love I have for them. But I'm afraid that if the results aren't mine, I'll lose them. Lose them? They discussed this with my lawyer last week, and the lawyer said that if they aren't mine, it will be difficult for me to get any kind of custody. I told him that if it really comes to that, I'll fight to the end, and whether they're related by blood or not, they're my children. Speaking of children, my ex-husband has met them a few times, and their mother is a really nice person, and the children are very nice too. The same cannot be said for my baking equipment. Although she broke into my home last Friday when she knew I wasn't there, took a lot of things, and deliberately broke some of the things that were special to me. There was no way to prove what she had done, and she returned the items on Sunday. saying she had only borrowed them for a while. But I like baking, and she is slowly destroying my hobby. I have deleted my Instagram page because she feels uncomfortable with the women who follow me. She must have remembered that I was working on my niece's birthday cake and tried to sabotage it. I have documented and screenshot everything, and as many of you rightly predicted, she also cheats on me regularly, although I have not yet obtained any physical evidence from her friends. She is also part of this WhatsApp group, where women basically only post nude photos and men comment. I still need to find out more about this group so I can see some boobs again. She sent me a lot of pictures she took secretly all over our house, including her bedroom, and some of them were even posted on my car. There are also single people among these friends, and when they get involved with someone, my wife will add that man to Facebook and offer herself up. One of these friends messaged one of the people still chatting on the Facebook DMS and sent this friend a whole bunch of screenshots for me to see. Anyway, I must have had over 100 screenshots of what she kept saying and sending to people, all of this over the past few years, so it may continue as the divorce is still in its early stages. One day I want to fight, and the next day I just want to give her everything materially, not the children, and then leave and start again so I can finish this. If you have any questions, I will try to answer. Update 2: the first night I stayed by myself, which was probably the first time in over 20 years, and I didn't know what to do. I wanted someone to keep me company so I could have some physical contact, but ultimately I just sat alone drinking, which was the first time I'd done that in years. I'm sorry I posted such a boring thread. I'm just lonely and want some affection. If you read my profile, you'll see that about 6 weeks ago, I left my wife who was abusing me, and before that I realized how bad she was. Prior to that, we had had no sex for 3 years, and when we did have sex, there was no foreplay. I had not received or given oral sex for nearly 20 years. I was on top, and she told me to do it as fast as possible so I could come quickly. There was also no emotion, no holding hands, no kissing, no cuddling, no snuggling, nothing. Since becoming single, we have not even shared the same bed. I realized how much I had missed all of that. I basically suppressed this desire because I knew it would never happen since I became single. It was like a switch being flipped, and I realized that there are millions of women out there, and maybe someone would like me to bake her a cake, and then we could snuggle up and watch trashy TV, and I could play with their hair or stroke their back or do something else. After I posted the original post, a woman who looked cute started chatting with me. I expressed these desires to her, and she said she would be happy to do so and that it didn't mean anything else would happen. She arranged to come over last night, and we arranged a movie. I made her favorite cake, and everything was ready. She came, and this was the first time I actually saw her. She was very beautiful, and the few photos I had seen before didn't do her justice. She told me she doesn't drink, so I poured her a cup of tea, which she accepted, and she also ate a piece of cake. The cake was delicious, and she had a second piece, and a third piece would have been fine. Afterwards, she suggested that we put the sofas together, pull the duvet over them, and watch a movie together. She said, or if you have a TV in your bedroom, let's just go upstairs. I'm terrible at this sort of thing, so I thought that was a good idea, and we agreed as soon as we got into the room. She got undressed and went to bed, saying she felt bloated from the cake. She asked me to sit up, and she rested her head in my lap as I stroked her back and played with her hair. I don't want to go into the details, but I think you can guess what she tried to do. In that position, my body wasn't ready or expecting it, and I was so stupid at the time that nothing happened. Then she said maybe I was just nervous and started kissing me and rubbing herself. I felt sorry for her because she was really trying, but my body just wouldn't cooperate. Then she got upset and said it made her feel ugly, which broke me down because my ex-wife always made me feel that way. She got dressed and left. I immediately tried to message her to apologize, but she must have blocked me as soon as she got in the car. Is this my life now? I can't even have sex with someone. To be honest, I've only slept with 3 people before, and all in relationships. I've never done anything untoward. If she unblocks me, how can I apologize to her and make her feel bad? In short, she wanted to go to a movie with me, but I couldn't make it, and it hurt her feelings. I moved back home and given my ex the house. I know people are unhappy about that, but I just want to cut all ties and have nothing to do with the city where she and the kids are. The kids stay with me and visit their mother at the weekend, on the condition that I drive them to school on Saturday morning, a 5-hour drive, and then collect them again on Sunday afternoon, another 5-hour drive. I know people will say I'm doing what she wants again, but if it makes my kids happy, it makes me happy too. She seems to have no problem with the arrangement, even though she has reneged twice already. Once the kids say they don't want to go, I won't take them. The divorce is still in process, but it will take a few more months to complete, according to my lawyer. I'm baking a lot now and really enjoying it. Thank you to all those who care about me. You're also great. 20 o'clock, just property, that's how I see it, and one less thing to worry about. A few months ago I posted here, if you want to see my profile, please send it to me. They saw my wife kissing another man at night, even though she hadn't had sex with me for years. Didn't care and was willing to ignore it and move on. But she kept harping on it, and eventually we split up. I moved back about 2 hours away, and the kids moved with me. My ex said it was too far to take them on the weekends, so every Saturday morning I drive them to her place and pick them up Sunday night so they can see their mom. We also hang out together, bring snacks, listen to audiobooks, sing songs, etc. But I've noticed that they seem to prefer being picked up than being dropped off. I always thought it was because I had all their stuff in the main home. Recently, my ex-wife started canceling these weekends, 3 of the last 5 times she canceled. She started saying that they don't like me anyway, that you poison them, which is not true, never said a bad word about their mother in front of them, and never will, and that I make a 4-hour round trip twice every weekend so she can see them, and they can see her. To be honest, every Saturday after I drop them off, I go home crying. I miss them so much. They're my little treasures. Every evening after dinner, we do chores and different activities. Sometimes we go for walks in the woods behind my house. Sometimes we bake together, watch movies, or read books. I'm handy and like to make and fix things, whether it's baking, cooking, DIY, or car repairs. They're starting to get interested in these things too, so we're working on a few projects like building them a house that's like a Wendy's with a PlayStation, a fridge for drinks and snacks, and so on. In addition, we have built a few petrol-powered go-karts for them from scratch, which they can race on a nearby track when they are finished. They designed the cars themselves, and we built them together. Basically, my life revolves around them during the week, and at the weekend I'm like a lost zombie until it is time to pick them up. Until yesterday, I received a text message from her saying that she didn't want to see them anymore, that they only ever demanded things from me, that they were unhappy there anyway, and that they were basically just in the way. I love my children very much, and I called her immediately. To be honest, I burst into tears because I felt so sorry for them. She acted as if I was disturbing her and wanted to find out what was going on. Then she said, "It sounds like you don't want them either. You just want to get rid of them at the weekend." I don't even know how to tell them about this. Should I just say, cancel for a few weeks and see how it goes? Should I tell them the truth? What should I say to make them understand without completely breaking them down? Then I'm torn between being really happy because I get to spend the whole weekend with them and being selfish because I know it'll be hard on them. I'm happy and they're sad. Has anyone else been in a similar situation? Am I the child or the ex-wife? My ex-wife says she doesn't want to see the kids anymore. I feel bad for them and happy for myself. What should I do? Update. A few months ago, my wife cheated on me. I was willing to stay, but she wasn't happy. Even more sad. I've had enough. I moved to my hometown 2 hours away, left her the house, and our 2 sons moved with me. Every weekend I drive them to her house to see her, but she started canceling appointments. Then one day texted me that she didn't want to see them anymore, was happy to give them up in the divorce. So, as far as she giving up parental rights goes, it's been much more difficult than I thought. Both my lawyer and her lawyer have told me that it is very difficult to do this in the UK, and that they have never seen a judge allow it unless there is a possibility of physical or sexual harm to the child. However, they have also said that they have never presented the judge with a situation where both parties fully agree. An agreement has been drawn up in which we both agree that my ex-wife will no longer have any responsibility for my children, including financially. Let's see what happens. Now just waiting for the court date, but they say it could be a few months. Speaking of the hardest part, I must be honest and say that I didn't tell the children for the first few weeks, just that Mom had canceled again. The older child in particular seemed relieved both times. Last weekend, they didn't even ask. They haven't seen her for over a month. My older son also told me that he doesn't like going there because she just sleeps and cries. The other day, he also told me that he prefers his new house, where he feels more relaxed. I feel sad because I obviously missed the signs before that he wasn't completely happy when we were together as a family. At least now, he is more comfortable. Last night, I had a little argument with my younger son. Although he was watching The Land Before Time at the time, he then started saying that he missed his mother and started crying. His tears were flowing, and he broke down. I was holding him when I saw this, and it was hard. I started crying, but I made sure he couldn't see it. I didn't say anything bad about his mother, and I didn't tell him that his mother didn't want to see him anymore. I just hugged him, stroked his hair, and told him that I would always be there for him, whether he was happy or sad, or just wanted to be a little baby. I would be there for him. After they went to bed, I broke down, blaming myself for leaving their mother, questioning why I couldn't be stronger and hang in there for a few more years until they were adults. It was me. It was me who made them drive all over the country every weekend, who made them restless, who made them leave their lives at 2 a.m. This morning I wrote a letter to my wife asking her to come back to me and be a mom again. Luckily, I didn't send it. I slept for about 3 hours, but I feel better this morning. Her family also haven't tried to keep in touch with the kids. To be honest, it's scary, but the kids are theirs as well. One of her cousins messaged me from time to time, but she asked me more questions than about the kids, which made me feel that she had ulterior motives or was trying to set a trap, but I won't fall for it. As for the divorce, my lawyer said it was expected to be completed before Christmas, but it won't bring about much change. Not wearing a ring, she has a new 20-year-old boyfriend, not the one she cheated with, but I'm glad to finally be able to say ex-wife, which is the official term. Update 4. It's been over 3 months since she said she didn't want to see them for a month, to her saying she's changed her mind and doesn't want to see them. I spoke to my lawyer, who heard from her lawyer, and my lawyer said that since there's been no formal relinquishment of custody, I shouldn't prevent her from doing so, as it would be very bad for me. I agreed, but said that I would no longer make the 4-hour round trip twice every weekend, but that she would pick up the children. My 2 children now often cry and say that they don't want to go, and they are afraid because my ex-wife is always tired and angry. I have to comfort them a lot, and it breaks my heart. The first weekend, she didn't show up and didn't give notice. The second weekend, she told me she couldn't come. The third weekend, an uninvited guest showed up at my door, said my ex had sent her to collect the boys. I told her to leave and never come back. My ex, my wife, called the police and told them I was kidnapping the boys. The police are anti-institutional, and they came and started telling me to take the boys back to their mom. I told them they hadn't seen their mom for months and that I was their primary carer. They didn't believe me, but when I showed them the boys' school uniforms and that they were already registered at the local school, they finally believed me. Her lawyer now says they want mediation. I ended up spending 2 hours in mediation with my lawyer, which was complete nonsense. The mediator was the most biased person, and even my ex-wife's lawyer said, "No, you're being ridiculous." It seems that after we pay you, the mediator proposed a compromise. I would take the children there by myself, stay in a nearby hotel, pay my ex-wife to entertain the children, and be on standby to help if my ex-wife and the children did not get along. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and we didn't come to any kind of agreement. I told my ex-wife and her lawyer outside that she or her parents could pick up the kids, and there was no other solution. The following weekend, her parents came to pick up the kids. My kids cried, fought, and begged not to go, and I couldn't stay strong. I broke down, hugging them in the driveway until they both calmed down. I apologized, saying that I didn't want this, that I wanted to have you forever. See you tomorrow. My ex-father-in-law nodded apologetically as he walked away with the kids. That was that. That night, I intercepted a screenshot of a conversation between my ex-wife and someone else, in which she said she wanted more custody so she could start asking me for money. That night, my windows were smashed. That was the start of an ongoing campaign that I believe was designed to get a reaction out of me and look violent. My car was vandalized, the windows replaced, and then broken again. Online accusations were made against me. My business was given a 1-star rating, and takeaways and taxis kept arriving at my house. My parents' home and car were also targeted. This always happened on Saturday nights when my children were there. I reported it to the police every time, and it was recorded, but they never cared. I have evidence that her cousins took a selfie in the street next to my house at 2 a.m. and uploaded it to TikTok, and the police don't care. This is my life now. Poor children have to go there against their will every weekend, and I am constantly threatened. I received official documents from her lawyer saying she will be asking for more custody. I have to bite my teeth and control my temper while my family and I are attacked and harassed. I have had to see hundreds of people attack my character on Facebook and Twitter because my ex-husband told everyone that I made the children turn against her, that any man who called me said they were coming to stab me because I had abused my ex-wife, that some people say there is no smoke without fire, that all women are believed, etc. I hate this situation. It is making me start to become more hateful. I was not prejudiced before, but now I find myself becoming very distrustful of women because 95% of the people who call me names online are women. It sounds horrible, but the other day I was watching a program and a woman was talking about her abuse, and my first thought was that she was lying to get him into trouble, and then I had to blame myself because victims blaming really confuses me. You try to do everything right, but nothing works. I just want a quiet and safe life for my child. As soon as she sent the message, I contacted my lawyer immediately. But in the UK, you can't just give up your parental rights overnight. You have to go through the courts, which takes months, and even then a judge or committee must decide whether you can be stopped from being a parent. My lawyer and others have told me that the circumstances in which you can just legally stop being a parent are very rare. I have already spent over £5,000 on legal fees. Do you think I'm just going to sit here and wait for a miracle? I have applied for an immediate non-visitation order or whatever it is on the grounds of abuse and neglect, but it was refused because there was no sign of emotional or physical abuse. I can't legally stop going to see the children. I would be arrested for preventing the mother from seeing her children. They won't read the text messages. She says they will read the facts. She is the legal mom, and there is nothing I can do about it. My hands are tied. I've spoken to various family lawyers, and they all say the same thing. I can't legally stop me seeing them. I could stop being so accommodating and personally drive them, but I already do that. Besides, if I get arrested for not letting her see the kids, I'll be playing right into her hands, which is exactly what she wants. The kids are the real victims because they're the pawns she's playing with, and Stevie Wonder can see that they'd be better off with me. Heck, I've been to the police station many times. I've printed over 100 screenshots. I have video evidence of my home being vandalized. I have recordings of people saying they want to stab me. They won't do anything, and I have to do everything to give my ex-wife the upper hand, as my lawyer says, because she's the mother and she's already got her side of the story, so I have to stay innocent. You think I don't want to punch these people in the face? I could crush those little drug dealer cousins with one hand and drink tea with the other, no problem, but this. If I fight back against them on social media, it doesn't do me any good and it makes me look bad in front of the law. I have 3 lawyers telling me never to respond to anyone except my ex-wife, and even then only in direct questioning or when something about my children is asked for. Ignore screenshots and save anything else.